Hi, this is Tyrone Barrington, and welcome to another edition of the Fashion Insider Trading Tips. This week's edition is on waiting for Vogue. Um, what happens when you're waiting? What do you do? It's like being in transit, right? You know, for those of us who travel a lot, sometimes connecting to another city or country, sometimes you go in transit and it's like, waiting for hours and hours. And I've had that, my little brother used to live in Korea. And once I visited him a number of times, but once I was coming back, he had gotten into an accident, and so I had to fly immediately to Korea. And so when I got there, the only way to get back, right, was to fly through from Seoul, Korea, through to Tokyo, Japan, in transit there for, I think, I don't know, 9 hours, whatever, and then from Tokyo on to Alaska, Anchorage, Alaska, and that was another, I think, 10-hour wait to leave Alaska, and then from Alaska I had to go to Seattle, Washington, all to get back to New York. Now, in Seattle, there was a snowstorm along the East Coast, so all flights were grounded. So I was stuck in the airport for, I don't know, another 10 hours or so. So I literally it took me about nearly 2 full days, I think, 2.5 days, 2 full days, I guess, to get back to New York. So during that time, you have to be in transit. And so being in transit, what do you do? Well, at least, thank God, in Alaska and in Seattle, you can get out of the airport and do something, stuff there. But being in transit is not easy, and it's like waiting for Vogue to call. It's like you're sitting there getting frustrated, and you're like, when will Vogue call, or when will I get home? And that's what happens with many models, especially models that you think has the potential to become a Vogue girl, and you're there working hard. 6 months go by and Vogue ain't calling. You know they're ready for Vogue, but Vogue's not calling. A year go by and Vogue doesn't call. Another year go by and no Vogue. And you start questioning yourself, did I get it wrong? You start going like, I know this girl is right for Vogue. Why aren't they calling for her? And you start going like, maybe I should send her to this city, maybe I send her to Paris, or send her to London. And I'm going to use an example of a model who, that happened to. There's this beautiful model that I knew that was right for Vogue. And it took 2 years of waiting, no work, nothing. And just when she was about to give up, just when she was going to walk away, and she had just made up her mind that she was going to leave the business, believe it or not, that's when they called, that's when Vogue called. It's the weirdest thing. She had just said, you know what, I'm going back home. She wasn't from this country. She was all set to go. And funny part, that's what I love sharing these stories, because it reminds me how amazing God is, and it's never in our timing. When we want things that we expect, we're going to get it when we want it, and God says no. And just when you're about to say, I give up, it's like that thing, I surrender, Lord. And just when you're surrendering your total life, your total will, that's when God turns around and turns things around. And that girl had literally just said, just given up and said, you know what, it's not working. She had really tried. We tried everything for 2 years. And at that last moment, that's when we got the call. And it reminds me that, God's time is not our time. And it teaches us patience. It teaches us patience and being steadfast, still keeping our focus. Anyway, so that's my story for this week. Waiting on Vogue is like being in transit. I hope you gain something from this. But remember, the greatest agent that ever lived is Christ. And he knows the date, the time, the hour when your Vogue will come. Trust him. That's the best agent to trust. God bless you. Have a great weekend. Shabbat Shalom. Peace out.